going to have the invitation now. Thank you, Laquita. Thankful for the hope we have in Jesus Christ. Courage. It's easy to talk about courage and being brave, at least in our household, until this little thing with about 8 legs goes scurrying across the floor or across the wall, and the yelps and screams, the cries out that happen are interesting. Courage is our theme for the month of August. Be courageous. Be courageous. Our vision here at Berean Baptist Church is to make followers of Jesus. And we do that by sharing the hope of Jesus in life and in salvation. The hope that was just sung about. There is hope in life. In order to do that, as we are looking through Acts, we can glean off one of the major characteristics that the early church had, and especially in Acts chapter 4. Each Sunday this month, we'll be taking a section of Acts chapter 4 and looking at the quality of courage that they had. For us to make followers of Jesus and share the hope of Jesus in this world that we live in today, we must have courage. There are many, many lies that our world tries to inundate us with. And we are to speak truth. From this pulpit, one of the reasons, and in this church, we don't speak on hot-button cultural things. What do we speak on? The Word of God. Because our culture changes. The lies will continue to change one after another. There'll be one lie this week and there'll be another lie the next week. So how can we line up all the lies and distinguish between them? We can do it in one way, and that is to proclaim the truth of the Word of God. Amen? Amen. When we fill ourselves with this, we will be able to recognize any lie that this world tries to give us, that the enemy tries to give us. With that being said, open your Bibles to Acts chapter 4. Speaking of courage, how do we be courageous? In our context and what we are looking at in this month, courage is a special kind of knowledge. The knowledge of how to fear what should be feared and how not to fear what should not be feared. We're going to begin in Matthew 10:28. I know I told you to turn to Acts. Turn with me to Matthew 10:28. And then we'll keep your finger in Acts. We'll come back. Matthew 10, verse 28. Fear what should be feared. Courage is not the absence of fear, but fear in the correct place. According to Matthew 10:28, it says, "And fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell." Courage requires us to have faith in God. If my fear is in the correct place, then I can stand up against anything this world gives me. Courage requires faith in God. You will see your outline in the back of the bulletin in front of you, and the seat in front of you. Courageous. Today we're going to look at how to have a courageous witness. Because that's the call, right? To share the hope of Jesus. How can we make followers of Jesus if we don't share the hope of Jesus? To have a courageous witness, we must have, number one, we've already talked about it, faith in God's truth. Because it is the only truth. And I must believe in the message of the gospel of Jesus Christ. His life, His death, His burial, His resurrection. We know truth. So when lies come, we can recognize them and not be swayed and not be turned. Because it is God's truth that is truth. Go with me now to Acts chapter 4, verse 1. Peter and John, they healed the lame man. People gathered around and gave them the opportunity to speak the name of Jesus Christ. And that is exactly what is happening in verse 1. Acts chapter 4, verse 1, it says, "And as they spake unto the people," so they're still speaking, they're still proclaiming the name of Jesus. It says, "The priests and the captain of the temple and the Sadducees came upon them." They were confronted by worldly leaders who had power. Verse 2, it says, "Being grieved," these leaders were grieved or disturbed that they taught the people and preached through Jesus the resurrection from the dead. They did not believe in Jesus. They did not believe in the resurrection. Luke 20:27, it says, "Then came to him certain of the Sadducees which deny that there is any resurrection." So the worldly leaders are coming to Peter and John in all their authority and all their power with a lie that in Jesus there is no resurrection, there is no hope after life. One of the official functions of the Sadducees was to teach or interpret Scripture. And obviously there's probably some jealousy as these two fishermen have these great crowds around them. And their power was threatened. And their way of religion was threatened by the name of Jesus Christ. And so they did not believe, and they tried to spread lies. In verse 3 of Acts chapter 4, it says, "And they laid hands on them." They grabbed Peter and John, and put them in the holds unto the next day. So they put them in jail overnight, for it was now eventide. The captain was with them, the captain of the temple, who has authority to throw these men in jail, to lock them up, especially backed by the Sadducees. All the power of the world, the local government was there and against them. But how does verse 4 start? "Howbeit, nevertheless, but God." But God. The world will do anything it can to spread its lies, but truth will always stand. Howbeit, despite the fact that these two men of God have been thrown into jail, regardless of what the world tries to do, they cannot stop the truth of God. Look at verse 4. "Howbeit, many of them which heard the word believed, and the number of the men was about 5,000. Why? Because truth was proclaimed. We saw 3,000 at Pentecost, then one crippled man, now another 5,000. Just share the hope of Jesus. Just share it. And no matter what the world tries to do, howbeit, God will work. Even if you're the only one doing it. Share the hope of Jesus. Verse 5, it says, "And it came to pass on the morrow that the rulers and elders and scribes, and Annas the high priest and Caiaphas," these are two of the individuals just mentioned that took part in the crucifixion of Jesus. And I'm sure they were prepared to take the same action against Christ's followers. It goes on to say, "And John and Alexander and as many as were of the kindred of the high priest were gathered together at Jerusalem." We don't know John and we don't know Alexander, and that's not the point here. The point is, Luke is showing us as he writes Acts, look at this powerful family. All of these authorities. And it did not stop Peter and John from sharing the hope of Jesus. Why? Because they had faith in the truth. Faith in Jesus Christ and who He was. And so they did not matter. It didn't matter what man said. It didn't matter what man did. They had a courageous witness because even though they had these deniers of Jesus throwing them in jail, they had a courageous witness because they had faith in God's truth. I believe the gospel. I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe in His life. I believe in His death. I believe in His resurrection. And I believe He is coming back again. The gospel, truth. Truth never changes. Number 2, to have a courageous witness, we must have faith in 2 things here as we lump them together. Faith in God's power and faith in God's promise. Faith in God's power and faith in God's promise. He has all power. Verse 7 of Acts chapter 4 says, "And when they had set them, Peter and John, in the midst," they have this gathering of this powerful family of all the leaders, and they put Peter and John in a situation that could have intimidated them. They set them in the midst, and they asked, "By what power or by what name have ye done this?" What is that? That's an opportunity. What an opportunity. You want to know? I'll tell you. In Acts chapter 3:6, we already saw them declare it. Peter said, "Silver and gold have I none, but such as I have give I thee in the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Rise up and walk." Again, Peter is looking for every opportunity to share the hope of Jesus. He could not have asked for a better opening in that environment. His mind was on his purpose. He could have complained, "Oh no, jail was not comfortable last night." He didn't say, "Oh no, I'm being persecuted." He said, "I have another opportunity to share the name of Jesus Christ." whatever this world throws at you, whatever trials and difficulties we face, use them as opportunities to share the hope of Jesus. Yes, I could complain about my situation. Yes, they could have complained about being thrown in jail. But Peter does not hesitate. He says, I'm not going to let my trial dictate my response. I'm going to let truth and the power and the promise of God dictate how I respond. Imagine that night before as they're sitting in jail. I try to put myself in that situation, what the thoughts would be. What would I be thinking? They just killed Jesus. I'm in jail. Next logical step is they're probably going to kill me. And where would your mind go to? I'm sure God's Spirit comforted them, emboldened them, and lifted them up and reminded them of His Word. The last thing, remember, that Jesus said to them was what? Acts 1:8, but ye shall receive power. They've already done it. They've already shown it, healing the lame man. They've already displayed the power. They know it's real. They have faith in God's power. And they have faith in God's promise. When I was thinking through of putting myself in this situation, it makes me reflect back on my life and how God has been so faithful. Why would He stop now? Turn with me to Joshua 1. I'm sure they were reminding themselves of Jesus' last words, where He was faithful in the past. That would give them confidence and courage to continue to face whatever the next day held, and to continue to witness for Jesus as they so boldly do, and we'll look at it here in a second. But we must continue to remind ourselves of God's Word and how He was faithful to the promises of the past. Because He was faithful before, because His promises were fulfilled before, we can trust that they will be again. Joshua popped into my mind. He was about to undertake a task where he was going to need some courage. Joshua 1:1, it says, now after the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord, it came to pass that the Lord spake unto Joshua, the son of Nun, Moses' minister. And Joshua was told, you're next. You're up. Joshua 1, verse 6. He's told to be, he says, be strong and of a good courage. For unto this people shalt thou divide for an inheritance the land which I swear unto their fathers to give them. He says, be strong and of good courage. I'm going to lead you. I'm going to provide. It's all taken care of. Trust me. Be of good courage. Why? Because God is all powerful. His plan is going to happen. Have faith in His power. Have faith in His promise. Acts 1 says we will receive power, yes? And we know the promise, the hope of eternity. Faith in those things gives us courage to witness that no matter what the world does, God's way will happen. We can be courageous because of God's commands and purpose for our life. Jesus' last words, as we're reminded of them again in Acts 1:8, it says, "And ye shall be witnesses unto me both in Jerusalem and in all Judea and in Samaria and unto the uttermost part of the earth." Joshua 1:7, Joshua is given a command, and he's told to be strong and courageous. Joshua 1:7, it says, "Only be thou strong and very courageous, that thou mayest observe to do according to all the law which Moses my servant commanded thee. Turn not from it to the right hand or to the left, that thou mayest prosper whithersoever thou goest." Joshua was given purpose and told to be strong and courageous because God is with him. Verse 9 of Joshua 1:9. "Be strong and of a good courage. Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed." Why? "For the Lord thy God is with thee, whithersoever thou goest." And you know that doesn't just apply to Joshua. God made a promise to Joshua. He said, "I will be with you." Did he leave him? No. So if God makes a promise to us that he will not leave us, will he leave us? How do we know that? By his word. Truth. Speak truth. Know truth. Hebrews 13. Words of hope. Hebrews 13, verse 5. At the end of verse 5 it says, "For he hath said, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. So that we may boldly say, the Lord is my helper, and I will not fear what man shall do unto me." That sounds like a promise, right? What do we do with promises? We haven't done it in a while. Claim them. He will never leave me. He will never forsake me. He will never leave me. He will never forsake me. You believe it? 7. I have faith in the promise of God that he will never leave me. I have faith in the promise of God that he will never forsake me. I have faith that I will receive power. So how can I have a courageous witness? I have faith in his power, and I have faith in his promise. He will not leave me. He will not forsake me. God does not leave us. He does not forsake us. He's not the one who leaves. Who is? We are. All right. Who wants the promise? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Everybody. Now that's commitment, right? He will never leave us nor forsake us. On the count of 3, we're going to say, God will never leave me nor forsake me. Ready? Speak truth. Fill this with truth so that when lies come, when doubts come, speak truth to yourself. When the doubt and the fear of God is far from me, God does not love me. That is a lie. Don't believe it. Because he's not. He has promised he will not leave us or forsake us. All right, ready? I've talked enough around it. On the count of 3, God will never leave me nor forsake me. 1, 2, 3. God will never leave me nor forsake me. Let's do it again. 1, 2, 3. God will never leave me nor forsake me. Do you believe it? Whether yes or no is the answer, the truth is, God will never leave you nor forsake you if your faith is in him. Amen? And he did not leave Peter and John in this crazy situation that they found themselves in. They had faith in God's promise and his power. So in all that they encountered, they could have a courageous witness. Number 3, last one. To have a courageous witness, we must have faith in God's call. Faith in God's call, what he has called us as his followers to do, to share the hope of Jesus by doing good and proclaiming his name. We were saved by faith, and we live and serve by faith. Galatians 2:20, I am crucified with Christ, nevertheless I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. And the life which I now live in the flesh, I live by the faith of the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me. 2 Corinthians 5:7, for we walk by faith, not by sight. In our walk, we are obedient to the commands, the call of Jesus. We obey out of faith. As we share the hope of Jesus, we do it from a place of faith. We serve by faith. We live by faith. We minister by faith. Acts chapter 4, verse 8. Peter and John had faith in the call. They believed in the call. They lived the call. They knew the promise and power of God would be with them. Acts 4, verse 8, then Peter, filled with the Holy Ghost. Remember, ye shall receive power. This is not based on the strength of Peter. It's not based on our strength and our power. It says, then Peter, filled with the Holy Ghost, said unto them, ye rulers of the people and elders of Israel. Again, who he's addressing, the authorities and the powers. They were just humble fishermen addressing the leaders of the day. But because they had faith in the call, faith in truth, faith in power and promise, their courageous witness stood. Verse 9. They say, if we this day be examined of the good deed done to the impotent man, they're saying, if you're going to judge us and question us for doing good, by what means is he is made whole? If you're going to question us why we did this, and you want to know how he was made whole, Peter says, I'm going to tell you. You want the answer? Here it comes. Get ready. Verse 10. Be it known unto you all, and to all the people of Israel, that by the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Peter doesn't miss an opportunity to say the name of Jesus. and neither should we. Points out their sin, whom ye crucified. We must understand sin, for all have sinned. He says, whom ye crucified, whom God raised from the dead. In a way, I think it's Peter saying to them, you powerful men, God has more power than you. You crucified him, God raised him from the dead. Who has more power? Who should be feared? Peter says, it's Jesus, it's God. Even by him, by Jesus, does this man stand here before you whole. He said, it's by Jesus. And then who is this Jesus? In verse 11, this is the stone which was set at naught of you builders, which has become the head of the corner. Psalm 118:11, the stone which the builders refused has become the headstone of the corner. Even though you deny him, it doesn't change who he is. It does not stop the purpose of God. Verse 12, last verse. Neither is there salvation in any other. Neither is there salvation in any other. For there is none other name under heaven given among men whereby we must be saved. It's only Jesus. Only Jesus saves. In a little while, we're going to be having our children come down. Our student-aged children. The world they face is brutal. The lies they face are terrible. We must teach them truth. If we don't do it, nobody will. And it's not just good enough to do it here. We must do it in our homes. We must stand for truth. We must be an example to them of a courageous witness. That we have faith in God's truth. That we have faith in God's promise and power. And we have faith in God's call. When we place our faith in God in those things, we will have a courageous witness in this world. It all starts with belief in Jesus. There's no other name by which you can be saved. So what's the first question? Are you saved? Have you placed your faith in Jesus Christ? If the answer is yes, how is your witness? If we were to look at each one of our own witnesses, would we be able to put the word courageous next to it? Would our witness for Jesus be defined as courageous? If we examine ourselves and we find, well, maybe it's not as courageous as it could be. Those that we just talked about, putting their faith in Jesus for salvation, we as believers must put our faith in Jesus now as well for this life. We're saved by faith. We live by faith. Place your faith in God's truth. Place your faith in His promise and power. And place your faith in His call. What an incredible example that Peter and John were to us, the early church, who thrived under persecution. They did not complain about the persecution. They used the persecution to share the name of Jesus. Bow your heads and close your eyes as we respond. Where is your faith?